What is going on out there, everybody? It's been been a been a struggle to get on here tonight.
Well, we're here.
I was waiting on Outlaw to get finished talking.
I was through.
I'm getting really bad feedback on my end. Sorry, everybody, that we're late. I'm having technical difficulties. Could not get my camera to work on my computer, so I'm having to switch over and use my phone here. It's just a warning. It's hard. It's hard to see everybody's comments on the phone. So, uh, can you guys see me?
I done a live the other day, man. I figured out how to do that, actually. I have to show you
Okay.
where you can actually see comments and stuff a lot better.
Okay.
Because, I'm on my phone, so.
Yeah. Thank you from WVU Mountain Air with Kenny's on here. We got Jordan Cruz. What's up, Jordan? Todd Withrow.
Oh, Jordan.
Matt Butler. What's up, guys? Thanks for hopping on. As you guys see, I've got a couple guests. I've got Mountaineer Paul talks football with me, and I've got Outlaw of college football as well.
That's right.
We're
the future of Mountaineer talk. Mountaineer Paul.
There you go. I like it. But what's up, Mountaineer Case? I don't even, dude. I'll be honest with you, Kazar. I cannot pronounce. I don't know what your name is. I'm not even gonna try to say it. Jake Rice. What's up, Jake? By the way, go check out Outlaw and Mountaineer Paul's channels, guys. They both do great work. Outlaw's an Alabama fan, but he does a lot of stuff on Oklahoma, USC, Texas A&M, Alabama, really anything college football related. And, of course, Mountaineer Paul. You guys have seen him. He and I together a lot lately. He does a lot of West Virginia stuff, Big 12 stuff as well. Jordan Cruz on here from the Country Roads webcast. Is Outlaw, you still with us?
I am.
Okay. We can't see you, but we can hear you.
Well, it shows my picture up there, so I don't know.
Not on my end.
Oh, you can't. I can see him too.
You can? I don't. Dude,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's almost like maybe it's a sign I shouldn't be doing this. I'm having all kinds of problems. I can't see him. It's a black screen. I can see you and I can see myself. But
I'm sure everybody else can see me too. It's just probably on your
probably
end,
is.
so
Maybe it's a sign.
No
Maybe it might break my camera.
That's right. It'd probably be better for you not be able to see my ugly ass face. So.
But
Plus,
anyway,
I ain't colored my beard in a while either, so I'm gonna make sure I color my beard next time before I see you.
No, don't color your beard, dude. You look better with gray.
It fits that Outlaw a little bit better with the gray,
Yeah, it does. Outlaw is black screen for me too, says Jordan Cruz. They can't see you either.
I'm undercover then. About that.
He's the. I don't even. I was going to try to say something clever, but I couldn't think of anything clever to say.
Well, how come I'm the only one that gets to look at him? I feel like I'm cursed.
I told you you're the future, man.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Gold and blue girl better watch out.
Oh my Lord, Outlaw! I can't take you anywhere. Oh, right now we're just shooting.
Is it blue and gold or gold and blue?
Gold and blue.
Oh, okay, all right. I used to call him blue and gold. He'd get pissed off.
That's originally how we pronounced our colors, blue and gold.
It's actually technically it's old gold and blue.
Right.
So he should be called Old Gold and Blue Dude, but that probably doesn't. That probably doesn't sound as good.
I like it.
Coos threw the shade at Kelly earlier. I assume you're talking about Kelly Zinn in my video, Cole. I mean, I don't have nothing against her. I just, if she's the one who negotiated that contract, why would we bring her back? Now, if she didn't, but I am hearing a lot of chatter that Gordon Gee wants her back, and I'll be honest, if she comes back, Neal may stay because they got a good relationship, is my understanding. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. And for Outlaw, if you don't know, Kelly Zinn was our deputy AD for the last 10 years, I guess, 12 years.
Have y'all hired an AD yet?
No, but that's what I'm talking about. Kelly Zinn was a deputy AD here.
Okay, because I got a good AD coach package deal for you, sort of like Tennessee pulled with Central Florida. I got a good one for you.
Who's that?
Matt Hogue, the athletic director of Coastal Carolina. He's been there since 2015. He's built that program from absolutely nothing. They used to not have a football program.
Yeah.
And he brought in Jamie Chadwell. Get your little combo deal there. Sort of like Josh Heupel and the guy at Tennessee.
Yeah. Is Coastal Carolina's AD good at raising money?
What's that?
We need. I said, I wonder how good he is at raising money, because that's what we need, is somebody that can raise money really well.
Must be pretty good. I mean, they didn't even have a football program to 2015?
Yeah.
Right. So that means since 2015, they went from probably FCS to where they're at now, right?
Yep. They might start out Division III for all.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Go ahead, Paul.
I was going to say, I've talked with Coos about this probably at nauseum, but and you mentioned it right before we jumped on here, man. Like you said, there are certain schools that are just factories. They're usually pretty good always. Whether it's Boise, whether that's Troy. Troy's always been pretty good.
Right.
Appalachian State's another school. If you get a coach from there, you better be careful, because it's
right.
the school. you know, they just always good. Now,
they
Coastal Carolina, right, and Coastal Carolina is not that. They've never been good before. they just now got good, and it's because of them too. You know, so I've always been on the bandwagon for Chadwell, if that's where we got to go. I've got other options before him, but I certainly will be mad about it.
And sometimes it'll work out, sometimes it won't. It's hit or miss. It's like, Chris Peterson left Boise State and went to Washington, done pretty good, but Brian Harsin didn't do very well at Auburn, and neither did Dirk Coder. I think Dirk Coder used to be at Boise State, and he went to Arizona State or somewhere and bombed out. So
right,
it's hit or miss. Like you said, Boise State will have a bad season every once in a while, but for the most part, they're usually a 9-3 to 10-2 team, regardless of who's the coach.
Yep, no matter who's there.
I saw a comment I wanted to address a minute ago from Jordan Cruz. He said, how about Pat White? He got a coach hired before. I guess he is trying to get an AD hired now as well. Yeah, I saw Pat White tweeted today that he wants Matt Borman as the AD.
Yeah.
Matt Borman, who's the deputy AD. Or no, he's not deputy AD. He is head of the Tiger Athletic Fund, or whatever it's called, where they
LSU.
For LSU. But he's from what he used to be at West Virginia, doing basically the same thing.
Yeah.
But what Jordan's comment was, after the big Fiesta Bowl win over Oklahoma, Pat White on national TV said Bill Stewart needs to be our next coach. And they ended up hiring him. So now Pat White's trying to choose our AD, I guess.
Yeah. And sometimes it's a bad move to let former players do the picking.
I agree.
Todd Withrow says no more G5 coaches.
I got another G5 coach for him that he may like. How about Jim Moore Jr. at Connecticut? He's got them in a bowl game.
Yeah, somebody else mentioned him to me the other day in my comments section on my on one of my videos. He's under the radar. Nobody's talking about him, but the dude's got NFL experience.
Yep.
He did good at UCLA when he was there.
He had 2 10-win seasons at UCLA.
Yeah.
Where he had a couple of subpar seasons and they let him go.
Right. It
says here he's 52-35 overall as a head coach in college, and he was 26-22 with the Falcons. So I mean, he done decent at the NFL level. He's got NFL connections, obviously, because his father was a legend with the Saints. So I mean, he could probably help players and point them in the right direction as far as NFL expectations. And that's a big turn on for these players. They like coaches that have those NFL connections.
Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned that. Josh Pate said that last night. He said now if you need to hear anything else about how crazy the football season is, UConn is going to a bowl game and Texas A&M is sitting at home. And before the season, if you'd have told me that, I'd have definitely called you a liar.
Wasn't that some shit? Liberty beat Arkansas, and then Connecticut turned around and beat Liberty.
Crazy. That's what made college football so great, man.
Yeah.
I watched Connecticut's first game this year, and they were very competitive. They lost the game. I can't remember who it was. But they looked really good. They've got a couple talented running backs. They were good. You know, they were obviously well coached, man. I don't know I just wonder about him culturally. That'd be the only problem I would have about him or wonder about is how would he connect with the culture around
Yeah, he
West
seems
Virginia.
like a more of a big city boy.
He is.
You know who's not a big city boy? Hugh Freeze.
Yeah.
Did you see the comment he made in an interview the other day, or in an article? He said
Did.
he would only leave Liberty for a handful of jobs. They don't like living in the big city. They like small college towns, and they like living in the mountains.
Well, if Matt Rule goes to Nebraska and Auburn pulls out the money for Lane Kiffin, then that leaves West Virginia with a possibility of snagging old Hugh Freeze.
Yeah, but but I saw where Jake Rice on here says she's the front runner talking about Kelly Zinn. And I've heard other people say the same thing. If that's the case, if we hire Kelly Zinn, a female, and I have no issue with the female AD. I mean, say that first and foremost. I have no issue with that whatsoever. As long as they're qualified for the job. But do you think she's going to feel comfortable hiring Hugh Freeze as the coach?
No.
Probably
Probably
not.
not.
I don't either.
It's the situation and how he handled it, man. Once he got caught up, he still tried to lie.
Yeah, well,
when you get caught up and you get caught with your drawers down literally and figuratively with him, then he just go ahead and own it and say, "Hey, look, I made a mistake."
Yeah, well, and I think he finally did over time.
Yeah, he did finally after he got cornered with recorded phone calls and all sorts of crap.
Yeah, I think the biggest issue there with her hiring him or a female hiring him would be what he did at Liberty when he sent that DM to that alleged sexual assault victim.
I forgot about that.
I mean, he didn't say anything bad in there. He just told her he was defending Ian McCall, who was the AD at Baylor, who got caught up in the Baylor scandal.
Yeah, he sort of overstepped his bounds.
He did. And he apparently, from what I've heard from some folks who have relationships with people at Liberty, he's apologized for that and said he shouldn't have done it. He said, I didn't mean any harm, but it was just it was bad judgment on my part to do it. But I just don't see, and I don't think Gordon Gee would hire him either anyway, because Gordon Gee's big on. I mean, Gordon Gee didn't even like Dana Holgerson's image, so he's not going to want to hire Hugh Freeze. You know,
I'm just worried if Hugh Freeze looking like Bob Petrino or something. You know, they give Bob Petrino a second chance at Arkansas, and you see what he done there. So,
yeah. I mean, he's my first choice. I mean, I've said that from the get go because I think you need to give the guy a second chance. I mean, he's obviously a great football coach, and if he's a changed man like everybody that knows him claims he is, then he should be fine. But and I think West Virginia's not in a position where they can miss on a coach right now. So,
what about Paul Chris?
I'm not crazy about that hire.
He's 86 and 45.
Why am I not?
Yeah, just curious.
Wisconsin had to fire him for a reason. Why did
Barry Alvarez?
You don't fire coaches with that kind of record.
Barry Alvarez, man, he's meddling, man, just like Phil Fulmer.
It's possible.
He's a meddler. He wants somebody he can control, man. That's why he run Brett Bielema off, and Brett Bielema's doing good at Illinois now.
Do you think a pro-style offense would work in the Big 12? Because that's what he runs.
I think so. Yeah, absolutely it could. But you got to be different at West Virginia. You know what I mean? We really do.
It says here 7-2 in bowl games.
Yeah.
So he can win the big game. 7-2 in bowl games. That's pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, look, would I hate to hire? No, but he's definitely not at the top of my list.
Yeah. Right. We're just spitballing, I guess.
Yeah. Bagman says, but anyway, what do y'all think about Stephen A. and Finebaum saying they'd rather have Tennessee in the playoff? That's actually one of the topics I wanted to cover, Bagman. Paul and Outlaw, did you guys hear the comment Stephen A. Smith and Paul Finebaum said about TCU in the college football playoff?
I'll be honest with you. I won't watch anything that has Stephen A. Smith in it.
Well, the only reason I knew about it was because I saw it on another YouTube channel. College football's pick around the corner with Greg Flugauer. He was ticked off about it because basically Mad Dog Russo, I guess Mad Dog, Paul, and Stephen A. do a show together, and or they were this morning, and Mad Dog said, TCU wins out and they go undefeated. How can you keep them out? Well, Stephen A. Smith said he don't think their schedule's tough enough. And then Paul Finebaum chimed in and said, "This ain't the Big 12 of old. This is the TCU Big 12. This is not the Oklahoma and Texas Big 12." So, once again, but the Big 12 continues to get disrespected, man. I just don't see. I guarantee you, if that was Texas or Oklahoma sitting in that number 4 position, do you think they would have made that comment?
No. And Outlaw got kicked out, looks like. But
he can come back. I don't. He must have lost the signal or something.
No, and it's endlessly frustrating for me. It really is. Like I swear, if I don't spend probably 30 minutes or something, or an hour a week on just wherever I'm at defending the Big 12, I don't spend any at all. You know, I'm constantly pushing back against comments. If I'll be scrolling somewhere, I'll see a comment, I have to say something. Man, it just drives me crazy. It does, because it just, as West Virginia fans, our disrespect goes back even further. You know, since, just think of the time, and we've been disrespected nationally.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, I got to let him back in. Hold on. What's up?
All right. Can you see me now?
I can see you now. I see you now.
That's why I did that. I dropped out so you could see me.
Yeah.
You gotta do that for the female crowd. You know.
I hear you.
You gotta do that for the female crowd so you can see my Tim McGraw hat.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody. Outlaw, did you catch most of what I said, or about Finebaum and Stephen A. saying that they don't think, even if TCU, they both said that they think if TCU goes undefeated, they still don't deserve to get into the college football playoff.
No, that's bullshit. They said that?
Yes, both of them did.
No, man, that's crap, man. They said TCU's actually played one of the toughest schedules in America.
It's not what they said. They said they played a weak schedule.
Stephen A. Smith's an idiot, man.
Yeah, he's a blowhard.
Well, the guys on 365 made a great point today. Stephen A. Smith gets paid to be controversial, basically.
Yeah, but sometimes it's just like too obvious. Like, man, you got to at least try to pretend like you're being sincere, or nothing he says is sincere to me.
Yeah.
Right. Like Skip Bayless, he really believes everything he says. I swear he does. He's a nutcase.
Even though he's an idiot, he believes God. Yeah, you're right.
You know, he just has all these rituals and all these weird things that he does about sports that he truly believes. Yeah, but it's funny, man. If I could ever get back into my MySpace, I've got messages between me and him back before he made it famous. I always like to talk about that. I know that's stupid, but
if you can ever get him on your show, that would be a huge.
Oh yeah. Listen, it's not for lack of trying. I have tried, but he don't know who I am. You know what I mean?
I thought you were going to ask me, should Tennessee be in over USC? Now I could see that. I could see Tennessee getting in over USC, even if they win the Pac-12. But TCU's schedule to me has been a lot harder. Is if they were to go undefeated, especially if they go undefeated, there's no way in hell Tennessee should be in. No way.
You don't think TCU? What'd you say that again?
I said if TCU goes undefeated, there's no way Tennessee should be in the discussion. It shouldn't even be a discussion to me. If TCU's undefeated, man, that's a no-brainer to me.
Yeah.
They should be in.
Yeah. I'm trying to read comments and listen at the same time, and I'm not very good at that. Todd Wither says, here's one for you. And I'm just going to let y'all know I'm having trouble keeping up with your comments because I can only see one at a time on the screen. But Todd Wither says, here's one for you, Coos. Mountaineer Paul, how long before Neal Brown gets fired? New coach in here before early signing period. What about John Gruden? Great with QBs.
John Gruden. Probably around early January for Neal Brown. We'll know by then.
I think it'll
be. We're going to get rid of Neal Brown. I think they ought to get rid of him at the end of the regular season.
Oh yeah,
that way you can get ahead of the curve on the recruiting and whatnot.
Well, I thought the buyout dropped to 16 at January 4th.
Really?
It
See, I
does,
don't
but it's
know.
only
I
a
don't
few
know
thousand
nothing about
dollars
the
more than
buyout.
that
So y'all know
a
more than
couple
that
days
than I
ahead.
do.
Right.
I mean, you're only going to save a few thousand. You're only going to save some into thousands by waiting a month.
Right.
So, you lose. Signing day being December the 15th. You need a coach in like ASAP. To be honest,
Right.
I swear I think if Kelly Zinn gets hired, I swear I think she'll keep him. I really do.
I don't even want to think about that.
But I'm hoping that, if Jimbo Fisher is unhappy, as a lot of people saying he is, that him and Jimmy Sexton can come to a middle ground with Texas A&M on that buyout. Maybe y'all get Jimbo Fisher.
I'd rather have Paul Christ.
It might be a refreshing start for him. It might reinvigorate him to go back home.
If he was willing to hire an offensive coordinator, I would take him. But not with the offense he runs today. No.
I heard the other day. I don't remember what show I was watching, but somebody said that he's actually starting to reconsider that now, and then in the off season he may actually do that.
That was Josh Pate. Yeah.
Is that who it was?
At least
Okay.
that's who I saw say it. Yeah.
It probably was.
He said it. He's being forced to reconsider it.
Yeah.
Just like Neal Brown. The same thing we went through with him.
With the kind of contract that Jimbo has, they really can't force him to do anything.
No, he's got all the power. That's for sure.
Hey, Outlaw, Bagman on here said you just came on here because you had to change out of your USC gear.
What?
He said the reason you had to leave and come back is because you had to change out of your USC gear.
Yeah, I did. Actually, I got some USC toilet paper in there. I had to wipe my ass, so they're fight on to that.
We got a $5 super chat or $4.99 super chat from Jake Rice. Jake, I really appreciate your support, my man. He says, "What do you guys think of Tony Gibson reunion?" I actually like it. I know I'm in the minority on that. I think Tony Gibson deserves a chance to be a head coach.
He does. There's just a lot of unknowns.
But I mean, there's unknowns with every coach, man. But it would be a risk to hire him now. I think because of the had you hired him when you hired Neal Brown, it wouldn't be as big a deal. But hiring him now, after we went through this 4-year stretch here, would be risky. But you might. Here's the thing with him, though: you might be able to get him for cheap.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that's a good idea.
Right. No,
I'm trying. If you're looking at this from an administrative perspective, not from a fan perspective, if you're looking at this as the president or the AD, say, all right, we can get Tony Gibson in here for $2 to $3 million a year. And after paying that big buyout to Brown, that might mean something. And then see what he can do, and if it don't work, and don't give him a big buyout, give him a reasonable buyout, to where if it don't work, you get rid of him in 2 to 3 years. I think there's better candidates out there, but if you're going to hire a coordinator, I think Tony Gibson is the guy because he has the ties to the state. He knows the culture. His players will run through a wall for him. He's a great recruiter. I don't see why not.
If you want a hot assistant, why not go after Lincoln Riley's little brother?
I mentioned that. Yeah.
I'll be honest.
Big fan of his.
I would like for us to hire a defensive coach for once as a head coach. We keep hiring these offensive guys, and it's not getting us anywhere. Hire a defensive-minded coach who can get our defense fixed, and hire a hotshot offensive coordinator that can, and let him just have full control of the offense. Somebody like Graham Harrell, even whatever, but whoever it is, just let the offensive coordinator run the offense, and that's all he does. And let the head coach focus on head coach and maybe a little bit on the defensive side. I don't know, just a thought.
We'll let y'all have Pete Golden.
No.
Did you see where he was nominated? He was nominated for the Broyles Award. Did you see that?
I did not.
I couldn't believe that, man. I'm like, really? Seriously? We got one of the worst defenses in Alabama history, and he's nominated for the Broyles Award?
If
Is
WVU
there
does
any?
not hire Rich Rod, just shut the program down.
Yeah, Rich Rod
Then
is an
somebody,
option. I mean,
and then
he
somebody else
is.
says no, Rich Rod. I refuse to support that. So that's what I'm saying with Rich Rod.
Didn't you say
He,
something about Luck coming back as your AD?
he's he was on the list that I saw, but
Did
I
Luck
don't.
hire Rich Rod?
No. Luck was later. Luck was the one that hired Dana Holgerson.
Okay.
Luck is not. I don't think Luck's a candidate. I mean, I think there's people that want him, but Luck's a multi-millionaire, man. Why would he want that headache? You know what I mean? Why get him so? And he can work behind the scenes as a donor and as an alum and as the guy who owns the Country Road Trust, our NIL collective. He can probably help the program just as much or more that way than he can as AD, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Who's the head coach at Tulane?
Willie Fritz, isn't it?
I don't know. That's why I was asking. I don't know who the coach is.
I think it's Willie Fritz.
Tulane, Willie Fritz. Yeah, Will Fritz.
Seem to be doing pretty good this year. He might be somebody you might want to look at too.
I'd be a fan of that hire. Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad hire at all. Tulane's not an easy spot to win at. They've been bad.
You got LSU in your backyard.
WVU Mountaineer Air with Kenny says, I say offer Hugh Freeze $14 million for 2 years. Watch his growth. If he does well after 2 years, offer 5 years at $8 million a year. We can afford it. I doubt he's going to sign for 2 years. I like your thought. I like the idea, but I don't think he'll sign a 2-year deal. He's going to want something longer term, 4 to 5 years probably, because it's hard to go into a kid's living room and recruit them, knowing your coach may only be there 2 years. Parents want to know their kid's going to be somewhere where there's some stability. But I like the thinking outside the box idea. What's up,
Says
Alan?
Willie Fritz is 193 and 114, but he has a lot of Division III experience, FCS. He's coached at Sam Houston, Coffeyville, Sam Houston again, Central Missouri, Sam Houston State. He's been there 3 times. Georgia Southern from 14 to 15, and now from 16 to now he's been at Tulane.
I was doing a little research on Hugh Freeze. Did y'all know that he was a baseball player in college? He didn't even play football.
I did.
He was a baseball player for Southern Miss.
I actually did a video on it. When I was going over my head coaching candidates or something one time, I did a video about that. That was surprising.
I did not know that. I didn't know that.
He's one of the few that didn't play college football or football at all, for that matter. He might have played in high school, but
dang, Willie Fritz is 62 years old, though. I mean, that's not ancient, but that's older than I thought he was.
Yeah, you probably get about 8 years out of him.
Pat 08 Mullen says, bring in Gibson, offer a die DC, and find an OC. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, Jamil Adai might come back with Tony Gibson there.
Maybe.
Maybe he'll bring Mesidor back with him.
Gavin Stutler says they should hire Doc Holliday to be defensive coordinator under Rich Rod. Doc Holliday's almost 70. I think he's close to 70, so I don't see that happening.
Yeah, I remember Doc Holliday. I couldn't believe Marshall did that to him, man. He was a pretty good coach.
Yeah. I heard that Jim Justice, our governor, was behind that move.
Yeah, you told me about that.
Because he's a Marshall alum. I don't know, and I'm sure he's a big donor.
Speaking of Marshall, I'd say old Charles Huff will probably be somebody wants to hire after this year, maybe next.
Yeah.
Another Nick Saban special.
Pat 08 Mullen says the name I've heard is the wide receivers coach for the San Diego Chargers. He was here as a TV coach. I'm assuming he means tight end coach under Rich. Are you talking about Beatty? I think his name's Beatty. If that's the case, Pat White wants him too.
And Rich Rod, we trust, right?
Yeah. I wouldn't mind. I would take him back.
Cody Burns.
About half of our fan base wouldn't, and about half would. So it would be.
He had him close, man. He had him close to playing for the national title. That's why I've always, thought he might be a good fit coming back.
He had a winning record, and Jim Justice wanted him out. The board had nothing to do with it, they said. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. Doc Holliday's only 65. Okay, thanks, David. I appreciate that. I wasn't sure. I know a donor said that Chris Beatty
You
was
said you want a defensive coach, right?
Huh?
You want a defensive coach. Why don't you just go after Gary Patterson?
I would take Gary. I say that, but then why didn't he win at TCU with the same players that Sonny Dykes is winning with?
Well, maybe Sonny Dykes is just winning with his players. Because we got to wait and see Sonny Dykes gets in there. When Sonny Dykes players gets in there, let's see how good he really is.
I know, but my point is, why couldn't Gary Patterson win with the same players?
I don't know. It's sort of a double-edged sword, right?
Yeah, it can go either way. Yeah, you can make an argument either way on that one.
You could say that he's winning because he's got Gary Patterson's players. And then when his players get in there, he may just fizzle out. He may be like Larry Coker.
Mm-hmm.
Larry Coker won a national championship his first year at Miami, and then he just went right down the drain.
Oh, Larry Coker.
Yep. Hey, same thing with Dave Aranda. Dave Aranda won with Matt Rule's players mostly.
That's right.
Every single one of those guys that got drafted in the NFL were recruited by Matt Rule.
Well, it was your podcast, I think it was your podcast that I saw you say that Matt Rule actually won with Art Briles' players, right?
Yeah, I guess that's fair. But it happens at every program.
Right.
Dana Holgerson won with Bill Stewart's players.
That's right.
Neal Brown lost with Dana Holgerson's players.
Nick Saban won with Mike Shula's players.
And his own. Neal Brown lost with Dana's players and his. What about Manny Diaz? Yeah.
I don't know about that. I'd be more willing to give Will Muschamp another chance before I would Manny Diaz.
Pat 08 Mullins, you and Sam the Man are the only two people I've heard mention Manny Diaz. Miami didn't want him. What makes you think I don't know why. Now, I'm assuming they didn't want him because they thought they could get Cristobal, probably, which I never understood that. Cristobal had not really proven anything at Oregon yet, in my opinion.
No, he had.
I thought that was a little bit of a stretch higher, to be honest with you. Manny Diaz was starting to win a little bit at Miami.
Yeah.
They didn't really give Manny Diaz enough time there in his defense.
Yeah, he was only 21-15.
Yeah, he wasn't terrible. They got to look at what he took over. Miami is like Texas, right? A mess. They are a mess right now.
Didn't Miami lose to Middle Tennessee State this year?
I think so, yeah. They've lost. They're losing to about everybody they play.
He went his first year 6-7, then he went 8-3 in the COVID shortened year, and 7-5 in 21. 5-3 in the Coastal. It's hard to say, he only had 3 years. You're right. You're just now getting your players right then and there,
Todd Withers got a comment here. It says, Couz's Mountaineer Paul, I believe WVU already knows who they want to hire for head coach. Just waiting for new AD to sign off on it. Trust me on this, guys.
Who said that?
Todd Withrow. You're probably right. Todd, I think they have an idea who they want already. Thing is, though, if it's somebody that's on another staff, they may not have been able to interview them yet. Who knows?
Right.
Gavin Stutler says WVU fans might show up to the game in white sheets if WVU hired Huff. What's that supposed to mean, man?
Man, that's a terrible comment.
It
Don't never make a comment like that again.
Yeah, somebody needs to be booty.
Get out of this chat room, man.
I'm trying to find them again. I scooted past it.
Why would you even say that? It's so left field, man.
He's in timeout for that one. Jordan says, Although I want P5 experience and a head coach this time because WVU has never hired a coach with P5 experience. My top G5 candidates are Chadwell, Candle, Clark, and Huff, with Chadwell way ahead of the others.
Yeah, Jordan's been on the Chadwell train, man. He was one of the
And
first people I heard.
You could bring that AD with him.
They've got an interesting offense. They really do.
They do.
And it's really similar to how we won before.
Yeah. And Garrett Green would be perfect for it, man.
Yeah, I think Nico would be good at it too, but not
Nico
as good as Garrett. As far as the running quarterback aspect of it. But I mean, if you want somebody who could pass it into it, Nico, but yeah, you're right. Garrett would be great in that.
This is off the subject a little bit, but y'all think Matt Campbell's missed his window of opportunity to get a big job because he's sort of bottoming out at Iowa State?
It's a good question. Good question. I think he could still make it out of there, but I think he's definitely lost some value.
Yeah.
Obviously, that Nebraska wouldn't be looking at Matt Rule if that was the case. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Last year, would they have taken Matt Rule over him? I'm not so sure. This year, yeah.
They said Nebraska's looking at Chris Kleiman too of Kansas State.
Well, that'd be a good hire for him.
Chris Kleiman is a heck of a football coach, man.
He won like seven national championships at North Dakota State.
Yep. I kind of wish Kansas State would have hired Neal Brown instead.
Yeah, did you watch my thing with Kurtz? Well, I haven't put that part out yet. I did the interview with John Kurtz the day before yesterday, and we talked about that, and I was like, how close was Neal Brown to being hired there? And he was in the top 3. It was him, Chris Kleiman, and one other guy, and they hired Kleiman.
I've mentioned Chris Kleiman a couple of times, actually, if Nick Saban retires. I wouldn't mind having him here at Alabama.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Did you know that Mike Norvell was a finalist for the West Virginia job?
Mike Norvell, that was the other finalist for the Kansas State job.
It was Brown, Fickle, and Norvell were the 3 finalists.
Yeah, Fickle turned us down, right?
Fickle turned it down. I don't know if he turned down the interview or turned down the job. I'm not sure which it was, but he wasn't interested. I don't know if Norvell got an interview or not.
Norvell seems to be turning it around at Florida State.
Yeah.
Why is nobody going after Luke Fickell like Nebraska or any of these other huge jobs? Why is nobody going after him?
I think Luke Fickell has made he actually got one of the big programs Notre Dame reached out to him last year after Kelly left, and he told him he was not interested in interviewing because he had a college football playoff game to get ready for, that he would talk to him after it was over.
Yeah, I've heard Cincinnati sort of picked it up with
they weren't willing to wait on him. So
Cincinnati got him a pretty good big pay increase, didn't they?
Yeah, Luke Fickell is a man of integrity, dude. I really respect that guy because he doesn't like the reason he didn't want to come to West Virginia. It wasn't even about money. I mean, I'm sure money played a role in it, but it was because they didn't have Catholic schools for his kids. Because he's a very devout Catholic, and I'm not a Catholic, but that ain't the point. The point is he's
staying true to who you are.
Yeah, staying true to who he is. He knows what makes him happy. He doesn't run after the biggest paycheck. He doesn't have to have the big high profile job. It's
Nick Saban
and Matt Campbell. Matt Campbell's like that. Matt Campbell's had chances to go a lot of different places, man, and he stayed right where he's at. And I respect that.
I would challenge whether or not there's Catholic schools nearby, because Pittsburgh is an hour away, right?
Yeah.
So if you move 30 minutes closer to Pittsburgh, your kids have only got a 30-minute commute to school each day.
Well, I don't know.
Surely you can find a Catholic school.
It might be the quality or the number of them. I don't know. Cincinnati is apparently a very highly Catholic area. There's a lot
in New York.
There's like a lot of really high quality Catholic schools in the area.
Right. So it's a community kind of thing.
Why would he turn down Notre Dame then? Notre Dame is a Catholic school.
He didn't turn it down. He just told him he didn't want to interview while he was trying to prepare for a CF college football playoff. He wanted to focus on the college football playoff.
So he reversed Rich Rod him, basically. He did what Rich Rod should have done.
he told him he said I'd be willing to talk once the college football playoff is over.
You know what Rich Rod was, the position he was in? he was in the semifinals of the playoff. That's what he was in. You know what I mean? And he chose to talk to Michigan during that.
I agree.
That's what happened.
Well, you know, he accepted the job at Alabama too, and he decided to renege on that deal.
He claims that's not true.
And see, we would have had Rich Rod instead of Nick Saban, because we ended up hiring Nick Saban after that.
Yeah, I was actually going to do a video on that one time, how that whole Rich Rod deal changed the landscape of college football. Think about that.
Yeah, Alabama wouldn't be nowhere near what they are now if it wasn't for that. Rich Rod did us a big favor.
And even the following year, if had he not taken the Michigan job, Les Miles would have went to Michigan. Well, because if West Virginia, well, even look at the Pitt game. If West Virginia wins that Pitt game, if Rich Rod and Rich Rod stays, if those two things happen, West Virginia plays in the national championship. LSU don't. Les Miles leaves LSU and goes to Michigan.
That's right.
Right.
I think West Virginia could have beat Ohio State.
Right. And guess who West Virginia had as their top recruit in that next class? Terrell Pryor.
Yeah. Wow.
And when Rich Rod left, Terrell Pryor decommitted and reopened his recruitment and ended up at Ohio State. Had Rich Rod stayed, he probably would have came to West Virginia. We may have turned into a freaking I don't want to say dynasty, but we could have been one of the top
Oregon.
We could have been one of the top teams in college football for years, dude.
Y'all could have been right where Clemson is.
Yeah. You know? But because of one game and one coach's decision to leave.
It's called the Rich Rod effect, right?
We are now 4-6 and looking for
the dominoes of Rich Rod. Nick Saban ends up at Alabama and Les Miles stays at LSU.
Do you think we were in the cards for Nick Saban at that point, or was he just looking for a bigger job than us?
I don't know that we would have ever been in the cards for Saban, but
he wouldn't have left LSU for West Virginia.
Well, he wasn't going to leave Miami at first, and
he was at Miami.
Went down on a plane and just baked.
Oh, that's right. I'm tripping. Yeah, he'd already left LSU by then, huh?
Jordan had another comment. I wanted to read now. I can't find it. What's up, John Kelly? Thanks for hopping on here. Roll me one Kenobi.
I love that name. That's so funny.
Gus Malzahn. I've heard that name. Why would Gus Malzahn leave Central?
The lateral move, yeah.
The recruiting mecca of high school football.
Central Florida got one of the biggest enrollments in America as far as students.
They do, and they're going to be in the Big 12 starting next year.
They got Orlando. It's right there in the middle of Florida.
They're truly they're on the verge of probably becoming a Clemson type program.
They're a sleeping giant. They're a sleeping giant for sure.
I agree. Jordan says, here's my question. Do you guys think the search firm and the national search are simply for optics and they already have their short list they will hire from, potentially Couz's list? Yes, Jordan, I do.
Yeah.
Apparently you and I are reading some of the same stuff, my brother.
yeah. It's a lot of us feel like it's smoke and mirrors for sure.
Now I'm not saying that I'm not saying it's that they won't, because if the candidates they have don't pan out, then they might have to use somebody from that.
Right. You just never know with these people, man. You never know what they're going to pull out of the hat there. It's just like with Florida back in the day when they hired Ron Zook, and everybody thought they was going to hire Bob Stoops.
Yeah. I wish we could.
There's one. Yeah, I'd take him right now. Give me Bob. Big game Bob.
What about one of the Bowdens?
I don't know.
Tommy's been out of coaching for a while, right?
Terry, maybe. Yeah.
Terry's at Louisiana Monroe, right?
Right. Tommy's been out of coaching for a while, though, right?
Yeah.
But he done pretty good at Tulane. He actually had an undefeated season at Tulane before he went to Clemson.
That's who Rich Rod got his start under, actually, was Tommy. I guess it was Tommy. Or was it Terry? I don't know. He was offensive coordinator at Tulane under one of them. When Sean King was their quarterback. Remember Sean King?
Yeah, it was Tommy Bowden. Tommy Bowden was at Tulane, and they went undefeated.
And then he got the job at Clemson as their offensive coordinator for a few years, also under Bowden.
That's right.
And then he got the head coaching position at West Virginia. There's always a Clemson-West Virginia connection. somewhere.
Right.
Yeah.
The towns are about the same size too, right?
I honestly don't know.
Morgantown might actually be a little bit bigger than Clemson.
All I know is
Yeah.
the 77-33 game was the start of the Clemson championship run
It sure was.
That was a wake up call, wasn't it?
because they went out and cleaned. They that's when they hired Dabo after that game. I'm not Dabo, but Venables,
Brent Venables, yeah, they kicked Kevin Steele to the curb.
because we put 77 points
That's
or
another
70 points.
guy that for some reason keeps getting jobs, man. I don't get it.
Who?
Kevin Steele. You know,
Yeah, isn't he the one that where's he at now?
I think he's in Miami or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
Might be in Miami.
I can't figure that out because he doesn't do that well where he goes, and he still gets jobs. It's kind
Yeah,
of
he
baffling.
almost got the Auburn head coaching job
I know.
before they hired Harsin. That's who the boosters wanted. They wanted Steele to be their puppet.
Yep.
And they went outside the box, and then the AD got fired for doing that.
Speaking of not doing very well, you know where he's at right now?
Where?
He's the Miami defensive coordinator this year.
That's what I was saying. He's at Miami.
Oh, okay.
And Auburn's actually got him. Auburn's actually got him on their short list again. If you can believe that.
He's Jamal Adai's boss.
His head coaching record is 9-37.
Yeah, he was awful.
Go ahead, Auburn. Go ahead, Auburn. Hire him.
He was at Baylor. He was just like Gene Chizik up at Iowa State. You know, Iowa State sucked, and Auburn hired Gene Chizik anyway because he was one of them good old boys that they wanted.
He was your defensive coordinator at Alabama?
Yeah.
Wow. He's had a long list. I mean, you look at this list. He's been everywhere, man. Like, look at all that.
Wow. I know. It's just like Ted Roof. I can't believe that Oklahoma hired Ted Roof. Ted Roof is awful, man. He was at Duke, man. He's like 1-10, 2-9.
Yeah, I didn't get that hire. I didn't understand that hire at all by Venables right there. That didn't make a lot of sense to me.
No, man. He should just pull a Jimbo Fisher and run the defense himself.
Gamecock Chuck says, "What's up, guys? What's up, Gamecock Chuck? How you doing, man?" David Frame says, Doc Holliday is the best recruiter I've ever seen. He was actually taking players from WVU to Marshall.
You tell Gamecock Chuck that y'all going to take Shane Beamer off of him.
What's that?
You tell Gamecock Chuck that y'all going to take Shane Beamer off of him.
No offense, but I don't want a Beamer at West Virginia. Nah, I'm kidding. If he's a good coach, I'd take him. I don't care. And I think he is. I think he'll end up being. I think South Carolina's got a good coach. They just need another year or two to get his guys in and coach them up.
They fell for the Spencer Rattler trap. You know, he's just not as good as people thought he was going to be.
Yep, he got all that money, and then
well, he got paid, didn't he?
Y'all can have Satterfield.
Yeah.
Like old Quinn Ewers, you know, he got paid at Ohio State and then he left and went back to Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He and Dana never got to recruit long term. I don't know who Cole's talking about. I guess he's talking about Doc Holliday. I don't know.
He surely isn't talking about Neal Brown. Hey, Coos, which way do you have your phone turned? Is it straight up and down or left to right?
Left to right. Why?
I'm just curious. I can always see the chat a little better when it's left to right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm scrolling through it. I can just only see like 3 at a time.
Oh yeah.
Because the screen's so small.
Frustrating. They need to fix that.
Doc never coached under Dana Cole, did he? I'm a little confused on that comment.
Yeah, no, I don't think he did.
Todd Withrow says, "You know who would be a good coach no one is talking about? That's David Cutcliffe, former Duke coach.
He's too old.
Yeah.
He's like 72.
What's he doing now? Anyway, is he retired?
He's retired, man. He's like 72 years old. He's old.
Yeah, that's just like the guy on the 3 or 4 podcast brought up Bill Fulmer the other day for us.
That's
yeah.
Yeah. Maybe as an AD or something. I don't know.
You want someone to come in and cause a bunch of trouble? Yeah, go ahead and hire Phil Fulmer.
Now they did have a couple good names I liked. Byron Leftwich, that's a good one.
Yeah, right.
And there was another good one they had, and I can't. Well, they mentioned Jimbo, but I'm not. I'm not. They like Jimbo, but I don't.
Why don't y'all hire
Dave
Pat
Clawson.
Clawson.
Listen, I already brought this up to Coos.
What?
The Pat McAfee.
Yeah, why don't y'all hire Pat McAfee? Y'all want to cause some trouble?
I asked Coos. I said, listen. I said, Coos, what if we could hire Pat and just make him a CEO? He don't know enough about football, but he could hire the best staff around him. That
That's
would work, wouldn't it?
That's basically what they did at Jackson State with Deion Sanders.
Right.
David Frame says, "Wait a minute, hold on. There's another comment I want to read first."
Bro, Pat wouldn't leave what he's got though.
Yeah, Pat White thinks Chris Beatty should be our head coach. Yeah, I saw the same thing that you did. WVU fan 23. He was a good running backs coach here for us, and he's got NFL.
Why is he
experience.
suggesting other people and not himself?
Maybe he figures that would be a little arrogant.
Who? Pat White?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is he a coach somewhere?
Yeah, he's coaching for the L.A. Chargers now.
Really?
Yeah.
He's on their staff, and he coached at USF for about a year. He coached at a couple FCS schools before that. Pat White isn't ready to be a head coach. I agree, Christopher Miller.
Yeah. Another thing is, Chris Beatty is ahead of Pat White on the LA coaching staff right now.
Yeah.
So if he leaves, that means Pat White probably gets his job.
All in on MR. I don't know who I'm trying to remember who MR is. HF.
Matt Rule.
Matt Rule, Hugh Freezer, Rich. All three can win here.
Yeah, y'all stop with those internet abbreviations.
If they get Deion, Showtime Sanders, I quit.
Why? We would win a national championship with him.
That was
just my opinion.
That was David Frame's comment. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think he would fit our culture at all.
I don't either. I mean, I don't think Deion. I mean, he's only been a head coach for what, 2 years?
Yeah.
He hasn't had
time to pretty easy level too, to me.
I mean, yes, he would be able to recruit. He would automatically give our program notoriety and get us the spotlight. But X's and O's and stuff yet, I'm still now if he does what he's doing now for another 2-3 years, then I would probably say, yeah, bring him on. But right now, I just don't think he's proven himself enough. Just because you're a great football player doesn't mean you're a great and even a great recruiter doesn't. And I think he's only a great recruiter because he's Deion Sanders. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Kids want to play for him. Who would?
He also got a lot of his NFL buddies helping him.
Yeah.
With that program.
Yeah, but you got to give him credit for that.
No, I do give him credit for it.
Well,
I'm not saying.
What bothers me about him is he took off a couple of games because he had a toe surgery or some shit. I'm like,
he had more than toe surgery. He almost died.
Yeah.
He got an infection and almost died.
They put him in the booth up there.
Primetime still needs time to show. Way too early. I agree. I can already see him high stepping up and down the sidelines. I wouldn't care about that. Let him high step. If he's winning games, I'll let him high step all the way to Princeton, West Virginia. I don't care.
At college game day. Oh, I didn't. Sorry, I thought the comment.
I was just reading comments. Go ahead.
During college game day, he said, he said it out loud. He was like, I'm going to entertain offers when the time comes after this year. So he definitely won't be open to it. But I doubt it'd be us.
I love his honesty. I really do. Jordan, I love his comment, dude, because I'm on board with this. I'm honestly just done with air raid guys, to be honest. Dana, Neal, Graham, I want a run-first offense, like Pat White tweeted. We know the blueprint. Hell, to be honest, I take Monken and the option over more air raid. I don't know about the option. I don't want anything to do with a triple option, unless it's the Coastal Carolina triple option, where they pass it 30-40% of the time. That's a different triple option. I don't want one of those options where they run the ball 90 times a game.
What about
that would be boring to watch.
What about the offensive coordinator at Georgia?
Yeah, that'd be a good hire.
And I'll tell you another one. The offensive coordinator at Baylor, Grimes.
Yeah.
I He'd be a good one.
Yeah, Auburn was talking about interviewing him because he was at Auburn for a while as assistant.
Hokie for Life says, "Hey, you want Whit Babcock?" I absolutely do not want Whit Babcock. Hell no.
I'll tell you who I'd really like is Mark Whipple, who is at Seattle. There's the offensive coordinator, but obviously that's a long shot, you know. And I love what he's done with this Seattle Seahawks offense this year, and Geno, the way they play.
Yeah,
seems like a very hard offense to learn, though.
Shane Stabmiller talking about Deion says he has changed the culture at Jackson State. He has, and I give him credit for that. I just personally don't know if he's ready to jump up to the Power 5. But at the same time, I mean, here we're talking about all these coaches that have no head coaching experience at all. So,
yeah, but Deion wasn't even an assistant or anything. So those coaches that you're talking about, the coordinators, they actually got more experience than Deion.
Yeah, that's a good point. Good point, because he really hasn't been into coaching that long.
And he just jumped right into being a head coach, man. HBCU level was a little bit
high school
easier.
ball. Did he coach high school ball or something?
He did, yes. Yeah, I did a video about him. Yeah, he coached high school ball. He actually had started an academy of his own. Then he moved on to another high school program, all just separate from that. Then he jumped up to the, yeah. I think it was actually called Prime Time Academy is where he was at. He's definitely got an ego.
Duke Silver Surfer, good old friend of mine, by the way, says, if we are going to go old school, Lou Holtz, LOL.
Oh, my God.
You might as well just dig up Jason Voorhees or something. He's about dead, ain't
he? Yeah. Justin Dunlap says, my three choices: Tony Gibson, Ed Orgeron, and Tom Herman. I don't want no Ed Orgeron and no Tom Herman.
Y'all don't do that.
Ed O's got the same problem. Yeah.
Ed Orgeron, man, he got a lot of baggage, man.
Yeah, same problem as it'd be no different than hiring Freeze or Petrino.
Yeah, he's probably worse than Freeze, to be honest with you.
Luke Bart, a channel member. Thanks for being a channel member, man. He says Notre Dame, Clarksburg, West Virginia Catholic School. Yeah, I agree.
No, Clark Lee's doing pretty good at Vanderbilt.
I don't think he was saying there was no Catholic schools at all. It was just the number of them, the options available, and the quality of the school, maybe. I'm just going by what was reported by the Cincinnati Reporter that I heard on 365. He's the one who said it, not.
Guys, if you don't care, super chat buttons down there. Kuz ain't going to say it, but I will. If you want to get a comment read, and he's having trouble getting through all these chats, throw something at him, man. He does a good job on this show. I rarely see super chats come up for him, man. He does deserve it.
Thank you, Paul. Hokie for Life says, bro, if y'all take Whit, I am going out downtown Princeton and trolling like hell. Keep Whit in Blacksburg, buddy. If we're going to get Deion, why? Oh, shoot. They just keep disappearing on me. If we're going to get Deion, why not get some other player like Peyton Manning?
I think if you tap the screen and hold it for a little bit, it'll stay up there. And you just have to retap it and sort of scroll it.
How many WVU football players will transfer once Neal gets fired? It's a good question, Todd. But I'm also going to ask how many transfers if he stays. We lost 20 last year, if not more. I mean, and you cannot base the future of your program on one class of guys. You can't do that. Yeah. You can never move forward if you're not willing to take that risk. But it is a legit question. We've already lost two. We lost Corbin Page and Mumu Ben Wahad. Corbin Page may have left anyway because he wasn't even. I don't think he was even. I don't know where he'd been. I hadn't heard a word about him since he got here.
They were trying to convert him into an offensive lineman. I don't think he was happy about it.
Yeah, I think he would have left anyway. Now, Mumu Ben Wahad, I'm pretty sure, left over this negativity around the program because his dad went on Twitter and talked about it, or somebody in his family. I assume it's his dad. I'm making an assumption, but that's going to happen, man. But it's a risk we got to take it because we can't. The program's just not going anywhere right now. Kalani Els, and I hope I got your name right. Coach Prime is successful at everything he does, and he heads a program built on actual values. Plus, those 4 and 5 stars at Jackson State are following him to his next spot. That's true. Look, Dion is. I will take Dion over a lot of other names I'm hearing out there. I would. Um, I would take him over Manny Diaz or uh, hell, I might take him over Jim.
I'll be honest with you. I think he's
Dion.
a con man. I'll be straight up with you.
I like the guy. I can't help but like the guy. I
Yeah,
think he's
I
a
don't
good
like
guy.
him. I don't like him at all. I'll be honest with you.
I know you don't, and that's fair opinion. I mean, I don't like everything he does and says. Like when he got on that report at that time for calling him Dion instead of Coach. I mean, that
Yeah.
was over the top. So but at the same time, when you watch him videos of him motivating his guys, and um, I think he's real. I mean, he's not fake. I don't think he is anyway. Maybe he is. I don't know, but he doesn't
I
appear
just
fake
think
to
he's a
me.
con man. He gets them to come to HBCU school knowing that if they go to a bigger school, they got a better chance of going to the NFL. Now, some players have went through the HBCU and the FCS and made it to the NFL, but not as
Yeah,
much as a player who actually goes and plays for an Ohio State or an Alabama or even a West Virginia.
yeah.
You
I
have a
mean, I
better
don't.
chance to make it to NFL if you play on the FBS level. If you got scholarship offers to go to the FBS level, then I think you should do it.
I like. Let's see. Hold on, I got to find this question that Jordan answered because I want to address it. Charles Honecker, do y'all think Ed Donaldson will transfer? I really think he could be a great for WVU. Hope we get to see him healthy next year. And then down here, Jordan Cruz answers that question by saying, from what I've heard, he is planning on staying at WVU for at least next year. Know a guy that knows CJ personally and has asked him this directly, and that was his answer. That's awesome, Jordan. I didn't know that, man. That makes me feel a lot better.
And I also know somebody that knows him personally too, and he's asked me to. He wants to remain anonymous, but Coos
Right.
probably knows what I'm talking about.
I do, yeah.
He's going through a tough time. He has. It's been
Yeah.
hard on him, getting hurt for the first time and everything.
Yeah.
But yes, he's very loyal.
Awesome.
That's what he told me. When I asked him the question, his response was, "CJ is a very, very loyal guy." So he didn't say yes or no, but that his response sounded pretty positive.
Yeah. WV Mountain Earlier with Kenny says, I don't think we lose until we get a coach. They will try the coach before they leave. That some guys will, but others will leave anyway. It's just part of the deal. Golden Blue Dude, thanks for hopping on, man. He says losing recruits will come with firing Neal Brown, but you can't let fear keep you from making the right decision. Man, these chats they just disappear on you out of the blue.
Yeah, you have to. There's a way you can hold it. It's hard to describe.
Remember when Dion was with the Falcons? Him and his teammates Andre Rison was first fighting each other. They was on the same team.
Yeah,
I do that.
I remember him pouring water on this reporter named George. I think his name was George McCarver.
Oh yeah,
at a baseball game. He just sloshed it all over him just because he had some critical comments about Dion. That's why I don't like him, man. That's why I never cared for him.
That was a long time ago, man.
Yeah, it's a long time ago. He still acts that way. So
I don't know. Maybe.
I call him con time. He's not prime time. He's con time.
Con time.
Con time Dion.
Close contact of mine donates big money. The Hugh Freeze talk did have some legs, just like the rumor of two big donors willing to pay the full bout to get Rich Rod has legs. Question is the new AD and head coach. Thank you, Christopher. Some YouTuber named Coos said both of those things and got crucified for it. But thank you.
Yeah. Half of you guys crucified me for saying bitch JT Daniels as well.
Yeah.
I want my credit.
And now three-fourths of the fan base agree with you, but nobody's saying, "Hey, Paul was right. Paul was right."
Before it was popular to say it.
I even disagreed with you at that time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dion does have WVU ties. Yeah, he does.
JT Daniels.
What about him?
I said remember that you watched Outlaw. Before it was popular to say he needed to be benched weeks ago. When I was saying it, I got crucified on them videos.
Yeah. Well, there's a reason why he could never unseat Stetson Bennett. So,
right, and Jackson Dart too. Outplayed him over at USC.
Yeah.
Dion's ties to West Virginia is Noel Devine, who I think Dion was like his godfather, or he basically helped raise him. is my understanding. They were really tight. But my understanding is he actually tried to talk Noel out of coming to West Virginia, is my understanding. So I'm not sure what that dynamic is, but he does have that connection, yeah. I don't know offense to you, but I can't stand Marshall. They think they are better than us and never beaten us, period.
Yeah,
Todd Withers is
y'all should play Marshall every year, man. That would be great.
Well, it's a lot of fan base feels like this, Outlaw. You know, if they beat us, it was an upset. If we win, we were supposed to, and there's
Right.
really nothing in it for us. But I disagree when people say that because there is something in it for us as a state. It's a pretty big event. You know,
Right.
it gets people excited on both sides, whether they want to admit it or
Right.
not. But
Well,
but that is still true about if we win, we were supposed to. If they beat us, it's an upset.
Well,
Usually,
Alabama's the same way. Alabama won't play UAB in basketball or football. They won't play Troy. They won't play any of the in-state schools in football. But Auburn
yeah.
has. My argument is, yeah, you got nothing to really gain from it. They got everything to gain, right? But the thing is, you're playing teams like Chattanooga from out of state. You know, you keep that money in state if you play the in-state schools.
West Virginia's not worried about the state; they're worried about the school. And and I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but I think that's their outlook. Um,
And I'd play Fairmont State too while you're at it.
Negative, Ghost Rider. The basketball team scrimmages them every a lot of times. The choices are lose recruits,
Talking
keep losing. Uh, the next head coach we get will bring his own transfers in. I'm not concerned about losing any players. That's a great point. We actually may lose some because of Brown leaving, but we may gain some with the new coach. So it can offset, so to speak.
Yeah, that's what I say. The number one, well, a top three characteristic you want in a coach nowadays is how are they in the portal? Do they believe in the portal, first of all? There are still coaches that are resistant to it. Second of all, are they any good at it? You know, do they have anything on record where they've maybe like a Lance Leipold? Obviously, he knows how to evaluate talent, so he would be somebody that's good at the transfer portal. Bob Huggins obviously looks like he might be able to do that. They've got to be good at that, especially in a place like West Virginia.
You think you could get Bronco Mendenhall to come out of retirement?
He's a name.
I actually
He
had him
retired at
on.
Virginia,
I
and
actually had him on a video.
he had a winning record. So he quit
Yeah,
because of some kind of family issue or something, I think. But
yeah.
He was good at
He actually watched,
BYU.
yeah. I actually watched an interview with him the other day. I actually listed him as a out of the box candidate in a video I did. He's wanting to get back into coaching. He said he just wanted to see what it was like to not coach. He said I've coached my whole life. It's pretty much all I've done is being around the game of football, and I wanted to take some time away to pursue other things potentially. But he said I've been away from it for a year. I miss it. I'm ready to get back in, and he said I'm a program builder, and I want to go somewhere where I can build a program.
right, he
So
won at BYU and at Virginia. So
and at Virginia, he was the first Virginia coach to beat Virginia Tech in a long time.
that's right.
So
One of the
that's a bad
365
name to
guys
lose.
just texted me. Oh, sorry, Coos.
That's all right. Go ahead. What were you saying?
Oh, I was just having an off the record conversation with you, not
Oh,
off the record, but off to the side, and he mentioned Dave Clawson. That was all.
Dave
Dave
Clawson
Clawson.
is a good one too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's done more. He's done more with less than just about anybody. I mean, that's one of the smallest budgets in college football at Wake Forest.
yeah, and it'd be a step up to West Virginia for sure.
That's right.
Watch out for Michael London coming back to be a Power 5 coach. He won a national title at Richmond. He's now leading William and Mary to its best season ever, and he learned a lot from his last FBS stint. I know that name. Where did he coach?
What was his
Michael
name, Coos?
Mike London.
When he at Virginia,
Oh,
I think he was at Virginia
Was it
at one
Virginia?
time, wasn't he?
Okay.
I don't know. I'm not sure about that, but
I don't know why I was thinking Eastern Michigan.
Why not pursue Chris Peters? Yeah. I could live with that one.
Another guy that went into retirement because of health issues was Bill Clark at UAB. He took that program and built it twice. Once when it wasn't a football program, and the second time when they tried to end the football program, they brought it back. So I don't know if he'd be in the picture or not. His health might still be an issue, but he's a real good coach.
Yeah, you called it. He was at Virginia, Mike London.
Why did Chris Peterson retire, guys? Was it just because he's just?
I think he had to like something like Bronco or something, man. Maybe he just burnt out.
Okay. Because you don't want to hire somebody that's not interested in getting back in it.
You know, the Oklahoma fans always say that Bob Stoops is not going to ever coach again, but yet he was going to coach the XFL before they folded. So,
yeah.
I mean, if the right offer came along, I think Bob Stoops would come out of retirement.
Well, he's coaching in the XFL now, isn't he?
Is he?
I think so.
It says here, Chris Peterson. It says, after 5 years at Washington, Peterson realized he never actually allowed himself to reset and develop a great game plan for life. So, in other words, basically the same thing as Mendenhall.
That's right.
But Peterson, you think he would come to the East Coast and coach because he spent his entire career out in the western part of the country?
It'd be completely foreign to him.
John, I hope I don't butcher your name. Christophic. Hi, everyone. Thanks for hopping on here, man. Mike P. Anyone mention Zags AD and Yormark are meeting in Texas tonight? That's interesting. Thanks for bringing that up.
I didn't know that.
Let me ask you something about Gonzaga. You think that they would be an attractive invite to the Big 12 or the Pac-12 if they had a football program?
If they had a football program.
Yeah. Do you think the Zags would be a good invite if they had a football program?
No. They still should be basketball only because Villanova's got a football program too, but they're FCS.
Right. I'm saying Gonzaga don't even have a football team, right?
I know.
Right.
I don't.
I'm saying would they be more attractive? Would it make them more attractive as an invite if they had a football program?
Sure. To me, it would. If they had one. As long as it was an FBS.
Yeah, it would have to be an FBS program.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're a nice size city. Spokane, Washington's pretty big.
Yes.
So.
There's no reason they couldn't have one. That I know of.
Robert Borkert, channel member. Thanks for your membership, my man. He says, make Neal Brown head recruiter. Save the buyout if you're going to bring another head coach under a new AD. Brown is excellent at recruiting. But he's not going to agree to that. You know he's not going to agree to that because they tried to do Lyons. They tried to make him associate. Well, he was already associate vice president or whatever. And they tried to keep him in that role, but take away his athletic director role, and he agreed to it. But that's basically the same thing as firing him.
Yeah. Keeping a former coach on the staff that basically is getting fired, it's not a good idea.
Yeah, they tried that with Bill Stewart, and it didn't work.
There's just too much angst there. It's just like with Phil Fulmer, man.
Are you guys as shocked as me that so many people think Neal Brown will be back next year? There's no way the new AD looks at what Brown has done and says, yeah, this guy needs another year. Brad, I get it, and I agree with you. But if Kelly Zinn, I'm hearing Kelly Zinn's a really popular name, and if she gets the job, keep in mind she was part of that team that hired Neal Brown with Shane. And I've heard that they have a good relationship. If she gets hired, man, she might keep him.
What if West Virginia wins out? They go 6-6. They go to a bowl game, win the bowl game, go 7-6.
From what I'm hearing, Outlaw, the decision's already. Well, it depends on who you. I heard from one source. I didn't hear. I saw it. I saw from one source that is apparently in the know. They say everything he says it comes out to be accurate. I guess he's probably somebody. He's probably an insider that disguises his name. But anyway, he's saying that it's already a done deal. They've already made the decision to get rid of him, and that even if we make a bowl game, we'd have an interim coach.
I think it's the right decision probably at this point.
But I mean, you know, I don't know the gospel, but that's
me and you tried to stay on his wagon as long as we could, man. But the Texas Tech game is what did it for me.
Yeah, I'm done. I was done after that one. I mean, I got off after the Kansas game, and then it was kind of starting. Then I kind of had one foot back on, after the Baylor win.
Right.
But then Texas Tech happened, and I was like, nope, I'm done. No more. He's not going to fool me again.
You can't get blowed out by a mid-carder like Texas Tech.
Here it is, man. He's won 3 road games in his career at West Virginia.
Big 12 road games.
Right. Yeah, Big 12.
Yeah.
Because when he was at Troy, he went down to LSU and won.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's wild, ain't it? And Lincoln, Nebraska.
Yeah.
Did you know who his defensive coordinator was at Troy? Vic Koenning, the guy that got canned.
What's he doing?
Well,
What he's doing?
West Virginia won't bring him back. Not with Gordon Gee there.
No. And what's crazy is
might try to convert somebody to Christianity or something. I mean, Jim, I'm being sarcastic, by the way. And that wasn't the only reason he got fired, though. It was that and he was bad mouthing the rioters, the bill. And I'm not even gonna bring this up with Outlaw on the.
What's that?
Never mind.
Look,
I'm moving on.
That'd be nice.
No, I'm not touching it.
What is it?
I'm not saying it.
I lost train of thought, man. I wasn't even listening. What'd you say?
You'll get on one of your political soapbox rants, dude.
No, I won't. I ain't doing no
subscribers.
I ain't doing no politics today, man. Unless you want to talk about Trump.
Now, we were talking
taking
about
shots at DeSantis, which is stupid.
Yeah, we were talking about Vic Koenning getting fired, or well, he didn't get fired. They agreed to part ways. We had a player. The first defensive coordinator that Neal Brown brought in was the guy he had at Troy, Vic Koenning, who had some Power 5 experience. I mean, he was a good defensive coordinator. And one of the players put out on Twitter that essentially Vic Koenning, this was during all the BLM riots and stuff.
Right.
Vic Koenning was openly saying negative things about the rioters, was openly endorsing Trump, things like that in front of the team.
It's called freedom of speech.
And he also got offended because this specific player was a Muslim, and Vic Koenning was a Christian, and he kept trying to convert him to Christianity even after the play.
That's crossing the line a little bit right there.
Yeah.
If someone wants to be a Muslim, let him be a Muslim.
He was given, like, he gave him a Bible and stuff, and he said he felt like basically felt pressured, I guess, even though he wasn't pressuring him, because I think the train of thought was, this guy's a coach. So if a player's automatically going to feel pressured, because it's an authority figure.
I'm not all about pressuring somebody in religion. That's not me.
I mean, I don't look, I'm a Christian, so I get it. But at the same time, there's a time and a place for it.
Right. I mean, how would he feel if that player come up with a Koran trying to force it on him? You know what I'm saying?
And when you're an authority figure at a public institution, you can't do that. I mean, you just can't do that. Right. Regardless of what your beliefs are, you got to leave that stuff. If you're out, you know what I mean. It's just not the proper place. So I didn't really agree with them firing him over it. I thought they should have sat down and had a conversation. Say, look, dude, you can't do this anymore. You know what I'm saying? Not just can the guy. I just felt like that was way too far.
And he ended up being a head case. The player did. He proved it. He went to the next place he was at. Proved to be crazy there too.
Yeah, I didn't know.
That's just like the whole
Mississippi State
situation.
I thought he went to Marshall first.
Name the player. Gary Martin, right?
Gary Martin, yeah. Gary Martin Jr.
Yeah.
No, he went to Akron. I think. I can't remember. We've lost so many guys, I can't keep up. Y'all need Hugh Freeze. Just give him a pager. Brad, I agree with you.
You're right. No, you're right, dude. You're right.
I don't see.
I was thinking about Miller.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, y'all could get Hugh Freeze and give him an escort. Morgantown.
Robert Borkert. Rather have Tom Herman, good coach. Yeah, Tom Herman's a good coach, but I've heard he has trouble getting along with people.
Y'all can have Bill O'Brien too. Y'all want?
No, you can keep him too.
I'd rather have him than Tom Herman, I think.
Tom Herman can't even spell his last name right. Who the hell spells their last name with 2 N's?
Whose last name's 2 N's?
Tom Herman.
Does he?
Spells it Hermann, right?
I never noticed that.
A lot of people don't
didn't either.
even put that last N on there. They just leave it off.
Robert Borger thinks Pat White should be considered. I don't think he has enough experience, Robert. He's not been in coaching long enough, in my opinion. I wouldn't mind having him on staff as an assistant.
Yeah.
Running backs coach, quarterbacks coach, something.
Offensive coordinator?
Yeah, maybe even offensive coordinator. Yeah, something. To have one of the greatest quarterbacks in program history on the staff would be a plus in my book.
What about Urban?
Who?
Urban.
Bruce Urban, yeah. Well, he's never coached, but yeah.
No, Urban Meyer.
Yeah.
Oh, Urban. No. No.
Urban's the king dingling of baggage.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Blue Hawk
He got
71.
it all.
Somebody asked a minute ago how you get your name green. Those people are channel members that pay the monthly membership to my
Y'all
channel.
need to smash that like button. They need to smash that thumbs up for you, too.
Tom Hunter would be a great get. David become a channel member, join button beside of Kuz's channel name. He answered that for me. Bob Stoops. I'd love to have Bob Stoops. Mark Stoops. We're not going to get Mark Stoops away from Kentucky. I don't think. He's
now,
leaving
the one thing you could sell him on is you're going to leave Kentucky, who's probably never going to win the SEC championship. You can come to West Virginia and definitely have a chance at winning the Big 12.
Yeah. Wouldn't have
a spot in the playoff.
And you got the spat there with little spat he had with
Calipari.
Calipari, you come to West Virginia where you're not, not considered a basketball school. Yeah, now we got Huggins, who's a legend, but he's at the end of his career, so he's going to be retiring soon.
I've been hearing that PJ Fleck's not happy at Minnesota. You think he'd be an option?
Oh yeah,
yeah, but he was, in my opinion, he's a mirror image of Brown as far as his coaching style. So I'm not sure that would be a good move. Maybe, I don't know, but at the same time, though, do you really want to get somebody the complete opposite of him? Because then you're doing a complete culture change, which is what Brown did.
Hey, I'll tell you guys another name.
What?
When you get done. Kotelnicki, the offensive coordinator for Kansas.
Oh, yeah.
He and Leipold been together for 7 years.
Yeah.
They'll just go for Leipold. You think y'all can get Leipold off of Kansas?
Probably not. He's a Midwest guy. He's been in the Midwest his whole career. Plus, it'd be a lateral move going from Kansas to West Virginia. Sort of. Same conference. We have a better program historically. Jordan Cruz says, what's your thoughts on Dan Mullen?
Not a fan of it.
Is he a realistic candidate, or do you think he is happy at ESPN? Haven't heard him brought up much, but I'd love for us to make a run at him. I have mixed feelings on Mullen.
The problem with Dan Mullen is the take on him is he don't like to recruit.
Yeah.
At Florida, that was the problem. They said he just didn't like to get out and recruit.
And if you recruit at West Virginia, that's not an option. You have to recruit because we're a small state.
I mean, he won at Mississippi State, so I guess he got in that whole mix up with trying to get in the NFL too. Some kind of breach of etiquette type deal with Florida, and he was pursuing NFL jobs on the slide.
The thing about a Dan Mullen too is he's probably not going to stay at West Virginia if he starts to win. He's definitely going to have eyes upwards and onwards. You would think.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, his wife is real touchy-feely with the players. I don't know if y'all have ever seen the pictures of her kissing them on the mouth. So,
what?
Yeah. It's out there.
Way.
Look it up.
Yeah, that's a little creepy.
Yeah.
I saw videos too, Outlaw, so I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I said that in a comment one time when somebody said, I don't give a crap. As long as the players don't have it, as long as the players don't care, why should we care? I said, well, I guess you're right.
Setting yourself up for something. That's all I'm saying.
Duke Silver Surfer says, lifelong fan and alum, but I hope we don't make a bowl. I kind of feel like it's not deserved. 6-6, I feel, is like a participation trophy. I just want the season over and the rebuilding begin.
No, the players deserve a bowl. If they go out and win the rest of the games, they deserve a reward for it, don't they?
Absolutely. Yeah, they do.
I just want to. I'm just selfish and want to watch another game. That's
Yeah, I mean, why you want to punish the players for something the coaching staff's done?
Well, the players aren't executing. Either. I mean, I get the point there. I just don't. I just want to watch. I mean, the only reason I just want to watch another game.
Plus, I'd like for West Virginia to go to Music City Bowl so I can meet Coors. I'm get me an autograph.
There you go. WVU needs to revisit its true identity and get back to chip on the shoulder, hard-hitting, tough as nails football instead of fluffy, air raid, sissy ball of the Big 12. I don't know if I'd call it sissy ball, but what's that? Somebody got playing in the background?
What is that?
I'm watching her kiss all these players. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Yeah, she's a bunny humper. She's all over them, man.
Wow. Yeah. So Dan Mullen's wife, she kissed every single one of them.
She's like a female version of Sam Dusty or something.
If we got Hugh Freeze, I would like to roll the red carpet out for him. We couldn't afford Urban Meyer, Lane Kiffin. No chance we get Lane Kiffin. Senile Joe. First time I've seen you on here, my friend. Thanks for hopping on. I like seeing new names on these live streams. Duke Silver Surfer, Ken Dorsey, OC for the Bills. Hey, hadn't thought of that name. That's
a good name. Miami quarterback.
Yeah. Out of the box name.
Josh McDaniels, if he gets fired from the Raiders, would be a name. But I mean, it's probably a long shot.
Jason Williamson. I'm sorry, but outside of Oklahoma, here, I can tell before I even read this is going to be another disrespect to Big 12 comment. I'm sorry, but outside of Oklahoma, which is leaving the Big 12, doesn't have one single consistent playoff hopeful. There's no power in that conference that can actually win a national championship.
TCU's in the top 4.
He says consistent playoff hopeful.
Well, that's how you become consistent, is getting there.
Yeah. Right? So I don't know that I agree with that, Jason. Number one, they're expanding the playoffs to 12 teams. So a Big 12 team will get in every year.
That's right. And I'm an SEC guy, and I'm telling you that someone's going to take that mantle. Texas and Oklahoma's gone. Somebody's going to rise to the top. Somebody is. It's going to happen. Somebody's got to rise to the top. So
yeah, and the 4 teams that are incoming are going to be huge contenders for it.
That's right. BYU was a good move on Big 12's part. Pac-12 missed the boat on that. They really should have got BYU because BYU's got a large following, and I think they're the last non-Power 5 school to win a national championship in 1984.
Yep. And there may not be a quote-unquote power, but who's to say there won't be one in 10 years or 5 years?
A couple of years ago, BYU beat 5 Pac-12 schools in one season. So they can beat Power 5 teams. BYU is a steal.
Yeah. I think UCF is as well.
That's right. That's going to be a hell of a road trip right there, ain't it?
BYU?
Yeah, Provo to Orlando.
Yeah, really.
Oh, man.
Hey, I've seen pictures online, though, of BYU Stadium. Dude, it's beautiful. Those mountains in the background. It's pretty cool. Yeah. And in UCF Stadium, they line up where it is like perfectly longitudinal, whatever.
Whose stadium?
Huh?
Whose stadium?
UCS. The bounce
UCF?
out.
Oh, okay.
You can actually see rockets launching from their stadium. It's pretty cool. Yeah. And they built it purposely for that. Mullen can't recruit. Doc Holliday. Mark left Arizona to join Bob at OU. How about Jim Mora? Yeah, we mentioned him earlier, Bill. Great name, man. Very out-of-the-box name. He's doing good things at UConn. And he made a comment the other day, by the way. I ran across a video where Jim Mora was talking, doing an interview, and he made a statement. I don't know who he was talking to, but he said UConn is going to have to start doing more to support the program, basically.
UConn, when they were in division, what they called 1AA, they call it FCS now, I guess. They were a powerhouse back in the day. They were a pretty good football program in Division 1AA.
Who's that?
Connecticut. UConn.
Oh, yeah. They were powerhouse. Well, when we were in the Big East with them, they were in top 25 3-4 years in a row.
Them and UMass were pretty good when they were in the FCS/1AA.
Chris Benny suggested by Pat White. Yeah. Pat White's suggesting a lot of things.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he doesn't make the decisions.
No.
Or fortunately, maybe. I don't know.
Who's that guy? I can't remember his name. The Arizona Cardinals head coach. What's his name?
Bruce.
Cliff Kingsbury.
Yeah,
Oh,
they were talking about that he might be out of Arizona before long. Might want to go back to college ball.
Yeah.
No, he didn't even do. I mean, he didn't even do well. I don't know why they even hired him.
I don't either, man. That's what I'm saying. Like he didn't do well where he was at Texas Tech.
Yeah, that was. I heard something about him that he didn't like to recruit. That's one reason he wanted to go to the NFL. So I. Jake, thanks for hopping on. No shot, he makes a bag. I don't know who he's talking about. Chris Beatty, maybe. I don't know. All right. Well, listen, guys, it's been an hour and a half. Paul and Outlaw, I thank you guys for hopping on here. It's probably time for us to call it a night. I'm sitting in a hotel, and I'm sure people are getting tired of hearing me talk. So
yeah, I'm fixing to go do some Uber driving. I think.
Uber driving.
Go make that bag, baby.
Yeah, y'all to come out here and go Uber driving with me on campus. You'll see a lot of interesting things.
I bet,
especially on Sorority Road.
I guarantee it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I guarantee it too.
If you guys haven't subscribed to the Mountaineer Paul's Hawks football, man, get over and hit a sub button for me. And if you haven't liked this video, sub Coos up. Oh, Outlaw. I'm sure he wants to plug his stuff.
Yep, go ahead, Outlaw.
I'm the Outlaw of College Football on YouTube as well. You can also find me at OCF Productions on Twitter, and I'm on Facebook under Jesse Paul Clark.
And most of you probably noticed, but I've got our Twitter handles scrolling across the bottom of the screen. So interact with us there on Twitter. Check us out. But anyway, it's been a fun conversation. I just want to get on here and shoot the breeze, man. And it's been pretty fun. I've enjoyed it.
I appreciate you having me, brother.
Absolutely, guys. Thank you. Y'all both have a good night.
All right, later.
Good night.